Hey, this is a video response to CJAE2631 regarding Explain This to Me, Atheist. First, I want to address your notion that atheists don't believe in God. That's an inaccurate statement. Atheism is merely a lack of a belief in God, but doesn't outright dismiss the possibility that God could exist. It merely means that since there is no strong evidence scientifically supporting the existence of God as far as we can determine, that does not mean that God is dismissed outright. And to address your concern, or your question rather, of the universe's alleged creation, I will take a little time to explain. First, according to thermodynamics, matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed, but are merely transposed in their fundamental frequencies and change form to another type of matter or a form of radiant energy, such as a light ray or an X-ray, etc., some form of radiation or transitioning into another form of matter. Einstein's proven formula of E equals mc squared shows that matter and energy are one and the same anyway, so the concept of matter is logically going to be displaced in our minds in the future if we're going to further our understanding of the universe at some point. Envision in your mind, for convenience sake, the Big Bang. Personally, I don't believe per se in the Big Bang, but as far as energy oscillations are concerned, it fits for this particular avenue of introspection. Before the Big Bang happened, logically, there had to be all of the energy that we observe in the universe, since it can't be created or destroyed, and it's there right now that we can see. So this energy, having always existed, must have merely changed its form an infinite number of times over an infinite amount of time. There is no reason to assume that there had to ever be a beginning. Modern physics theories regarding the universe's origin merely state that their laws and formulae don't apply before that time, but it does not say that the universe didn't exist before the time that they're able to observe it with their formulas. This means that our theories are insufficient to explain everything, but that doesn't mean that there is a God. Also, there does not have to be a why as to the universe's existence. It doesn't have to have a purpose other than to exist, to propagate an infinite variety of forms of energy, of which we as humans are just one form. You also dismiss matter and energy having always existed as impossible, without explaining yourself. What is your basis for this assertion, with no evidence shown to support it? Moving on, you also assert that being always existing is impossible, also with no explanation. I do agree with your last two impossibles regarding the notions that matter or a supreme being creating something out of nothing is impossible. That's a factual demonstration of universal principle in action in the form of the laws of thermodynamics. The universe has always existed, just as matter and energy have. Nothing cannot come from something. For if a spot of nothing existed somewhere, it would have to have a set of properties defining it as nothing, and therefore could not be nothing. It would have to transmit a frequency of energy in some spectrum or other to justify its existence as nothing, and therefore would have an intrinsic existence as a measurable phenomenon, and not nothing, which is merely a convenient label anyway, or a mental concept that we use to describe a finite set of objects or ideas. Nothing does not mean anything other than what we label it as being. In conclusion, I challenge your notion that atheists believe that it should be impossible for us to be here, where you use false assumptions about their beliefs to make your own point and seem like you're presenting an unanswerable question to bolster your own sense of superiority or your own ego. Atheists don't hate or resent God, they just assert that there is not enough scientific evidence at present to support the notion that God exists in the first place. Granted, there are some atheists who are former religious folks who felt they weren't getting something out of their religion, so they became atheistic, but that doesn't apply to everyone who is an atheist.